Palomino going over the EV-1. So today we're going to start with showing you how to start the unit or kick on the power. They have their usual DC battery disconnect, so you can turn it to the on position. And then it has a extra battery protection unit here, a BPU they call it by TBB. And if you hold that down for a few seconds, you can hear it power on, the lights will light up. And if you come around here real close, Megan, you can see that the lights for your battery give you a representation of the charge status of those batteries. Now, we're also going to turn on the inverter because we're not hooked up to shore power. So now you can invert from the batteries and create AC power. So let's back up and show them the whole unit here, and then we'll go on in. Some of the units that will be in the back here for the bunkhouse, and then it'll be under the front storage on the other floor plans. So we'll walk around the unit here. You can see here on the back that we have an external for portable panels, and we'll show you how to hook those up later in the video or on the next video separate. That'll give you up to another 900 watts of solar power that you could put into here. So that'll almost run your air conditioner continuously. They give you about probably about 6 hours of power or running your air conditioner during the day with the batteries, just with that solar alone. Come around here. Go into the unit. So this is the inside of it. This one is just getting ready to be shipped. So some of the packaging is still up front from the bats stored. And if you go to this unit here, this is the Renergy battery monitor. What this does, it does all that calculations, takes out those equations, which is technically known as Ohm's law, which is your volts times your amps equals watts. And you can see it's changing all the time because the status of your solar power input and the needs of the trailer, the energy it's using is going up and down. So it's changing based on those, constantly doing the math. So you can see right now, even with stuff on, we're still generating a slight positive, and that's why the unit is pulsing. That means it's charging the batteries. This is how many amp hours we have left. This is how much time till the battery would be empty at current rate. So it'd be 42 hours of runtime. We don't have much on right now. Now, one thing I noticed when I walk in here is that it only has 99 amp hours and it's 100%. This one's actually 400 amp hours. So what you do, if you want to change what the capacity is, you hold down the OK button. That takes you back to the screen. So let's do that again. Hold that down. You can toggle up and down. When you get to the item you want to change, you push OK. The 0 is blinking there now. Go to the next digit, which is the 1. Go up the 400 amp hours. We leave these other ones at 0. You can set this down. The alarm will, if you want to put it at 100 amp hours then, which is 100 would be 25% of 400, that will give you an audible alarm. The other ones you can leave at 0 is best, and it gets a little bit more detail, which you can read at the Renergy.com. You could go in there and look up the 500 amp hour battery monitor, and it'll give you a full owner's manual so you can read through the settings and use it the way you want. But for our purposes, we're just going to change and set it 400 amp hours. So we go back out of there. Now we're back up there. It drops to 25%. The batteries are charged, however. We just changed it. So right now we want to reset it to 100%. We hold the up arrow down for 3 seconds, and now it goes up 100%. Now you can see the time, the calculation is up to 92 hours, and we're at 400 hours. So that's how you change. And if you add more batteries, then you can raise that number even higher. So if you double your pack, you want to do more batteries, you can alter it. This is a beautiful piece here. It does all the math for you. So this is the whole system, plus and negative. Even with the inverter running, we're still generating, you know, about net zero or a little power back into the batteries at this moment. Now, the other system, I've talked to DC power and AC power. DC power runs your water pump, your awning, your lights on your interior, your 12-volt items. But also we have an AC, which the inverter is taking the DC power and turning into AC power. So the AC power is going to run your cooktop, your induction cooktop in here, your microwave, and your air conditioner. So all that has to be inverted from there. It still shows up back on the monitor here. It will show that power coming out of there. But also we have a separate panel over here. This is your load shedding IntelliTronics box. So to get you a little familiar with this, what this does is it's the brains behind the AC. So if you turn on your air conditioner and your microwave and your heater or your water heater, it's going to tell one of them to shut off while the other one runs, like your microwave, and then turn it back on. So that way you're not overloading your circuits. So that way you don't have to worry about flipping switches or think about it. This system does it for you. You can see right now we're only at 7% load. And if we use the up arrow, we can go through here. Here's how many amps are being used by every circuit. A circuit is like a location or an item in the coach. So if in your house you might have bedroom 1 circuit, bedroom 2 circuit, dining room circuit, kitchen have several circuits. That's how this is set up. So it's similar to home, your AC power or your AC appliances. So most of them are shut off. One's taking, the water heater is probably keeping a little power going right now. And then the next page you can go watts. So we're using 253 watts on our AC power. Now that number will tell you the actual wattage, but the inverter is about 94 to 95% efficient, so you lose about 5%. So you'd add 5% on there, and that's how much you're using overall just for the AC. So if we're using 260 watts, that's why we're only generating 2 or 3 watts of power right now, because we have 400 watts on the roof, and we're in Michigan, and we're probably generating about 320 watts with a sunny day because we're so far north. That what that comes down to is we have a net of 2 watts, and that's why on the other display, back up to the battery monitor, we're only showing the 2 watts. So with all the 12 volt and the AC, we're still generating just with the 4 roof panels. Now back over here, sorry to keep going back and forth, but these 2 items you'll get quite familiar with when you're using your camper and you're trying to dry camp. You'll want to keep an eye on these. This will keep your history so you know where your power is being at and where you can conserve. Another screen on here that's very helpful, this is your priorities. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this is your amps. So right now we have it set for 30 amps. What that does is allows the maximum amps that this unit or a typical RV park would have. But let's say that you're hooked up at your in-laws house for the night and you're plugging into their garage. Most garages are only like 15 amp service, and we don't want to bother them every time we blow their circuit. So what we could do is we can actually hit enter and lower that number. What that does is it protects that circuit that you're plugged into to make sure that that's not going to blow. So now at 15 amps is my max power. So this IntelliTronics box is going to tell the whole trailer not to use 15 amps or more. So if you turn something on, it's going to not allow it to run over that 15 amps. So that's another good trick. So now if I want to go back, I just hit that. I can take it back up to 30 amps. And we're set up there. So both those are very good things to know. Now you could go in here to watch history and go through the different screens too. There's several different ones, but once again, the main screens. This is your total load of 30 amps. We're at 2.27%. And then this screen here is going to be helpful too. Now let's say, okay, I'm gonna go hiking for the day. I want to maximize my power that I'm generating. We're still only generating about 2 watts up there of net power right now because I'm putting 260 when I calculate in efficiencies 260, 270 I'm using inside to run the AC. So if we go back outside, come back to the trailer, I could shut off my AC power, so I'm not using the AC, because I could get by through during the day when I'm dry camping with just DC, because I'm not running a hot water heater or microwave, cooktop, or air conditioner while I'm out of the unit. I can leave my 12 volt on and just shut off the AC, so that shuts off the inverter. This is the 3000 watt inverter by Renergy. You can look up the specs on it also. But I can shut that off so it's not taking that power. Now let's go back in and see how much power we're generating now that we took that off.
Thanks.
Well, we're still generating a little bit more, but that'll keep it climbing as we go. It's still flashing there, so we have that. And then we have the Teletronics box we can refer back to. And now we're going to do a couple hookups to show you different ways to hook up the external solar panels to increase the solar charging. And then we'll do a video on how to hook up your truck camper, because this, your truck charging port, which is the Anderson connector.